Good morning, everyone. This is Becky here at Aunt Beck's Creations. This is our hashtag Friday Sews. This is for batch number 4 of little dresses for Project Dress a Girl. So this week I had grand plans. I did a plan video kind of at the beginning of the week, and I thought I would end up with like 6 reversible dresses. Well, I wanted to make the dresses for like a size 12 and a size 14 so that I'm sending in, at least like a half dozen dresses for the older girls. And what I ran into is I had matched up fabrics and everything. Well, it turns out I only had, out of all of those fabrics, only 4 of them um, did I have enough to make the larger size dresses. So I may not be able to send in as many of the larger size dresses. I'm going to go into my stash and see what I can find to match with 2 of the remaining fabrics that I have enough for one side of the dress. And I could pair them, but they are so very different that I don't really want to pair those 2 together. So I'm going to shop my stash and see what I can come up with. But I did get one size 12 dress made. Hi, Mina, this week. And that's what you're seeing right here. And this is using, sorry, didn't mean to turn my back on you guys. I forgot to grab the pattern. McCall's 2074. And what I did is, this one's really too short for the program because it's way above the knee. And this one's so long, I don't see a girl being able to hardly walk in that. And these gals are sometimes, they're not in a city environment, it's country, and they're going to run and play and be kids. So what I did is I took this length here and I added 4 inches to it. So it is about 8 inches shorter than this one, but 4 inches longer than that one, because there's a great difference between these lengths. It's like 13 inches. So I did this at 4 inches longer. And you'll notice it doesn't have pockets, but the requirement for Project Dress a Girl is that each dress has pockets. So I took my original heart pattern for the smaller girls' dresses, and I laid it on my scanner, and I printed off a 138% heart and made the larger pockets for the bigger girl dresses. So that's how I ended up with this larger heart. I did a poll on my community tab of what kind of heart, what kind of pockets to use. And most everybody said hearts, bigger hearts. So what we have here is, on this side is the bird fabric with the pink gingham pockets, and they're lined with bird fabric. The only thing I'm noticing is the top of the larger hearts are wanting to kind of fold down. So if you wanted to, you could almost make that a design detail and just fold the top of the heart over. But I like the hearts. And the bottom, where the 2 dresses came together, I just pressed it really well. And then I basted around with my sewing machine. I didn't do it by hand. And I just sewed the 2 layers together. And then in my stash, I had this really, really narrow double fold bias tape. And I thought it looks really pretty with this without being, hi, Janet, hi, Leah, without being as visible as on the other dress that I did the bias tape trick, which is over here. You'll see on this reversible dress, I used the fun and funky bias that I bought from that gal on Etsy. And I did go and find her shop, and there's a link to it if you want some fun bias tape, on the video where I shared this dress, which was last week. So that there's a difference in the two bias tapes, because this one's really narrow and then this one's much wider. But I think for a bigger girl or an older girl, the narrow is less visible. So let's flip it so you guys can see the other side of the dress. And Lori had said, Paint Girlie said she'd never heard of a reversible dress. And I was like, oh, I've made several of them. So when it's Anne Marie Makes offered a challenge for August, and I entered this dress in that challenge to make something reversible. So she's doing a challenge on there on Instagram. So this is the other side. And I did bird pockets on the gingham. And this gingham is quite thin, so you can kind of see the birds through it. But it still works. And that gives me a way to use this fabric up. And then the bias tape, you see how it's not as visible. So there's that side. Oh, and I did the trick on the back where it normally this would come straight up and then you'd have like a little button right here. I just made it look like a design feature and did like a wedge out so they can get it over their head and they don't have to worry about tying this. I'm just hoping that it doesn't make it so loose that it's constantly falling off, but I think it should be fine. And so that's my single dress for this week. I guess you could say it's two dresses because it's 2 in 1. So that's it for this week. I'm going to use the other fabrics that I've already pressed first. So this next week, I'm going to not do any more big girl dresses. I'm going to do more of like a size 8, and I'll probably use this little pattern from the very first year that I did 15 dresses, which I'm currently at 14 dresses. But this one is super easy to make reversible as well. Okay, Howard. Honey, come on. You got to get down. I don't have any more coffee anyway. Come on. He says, you lie. I can smell it. Anyway, I'm going to make some more of these, but toward the higher end of the size range. And if I remember right, this went up to a size 8. And I do have enough to do that. So I'll do some size 8s. And they'll be reversible. I may add some other trims and stuff to the fronts of the dresses before I put the layers together. Howard, move, honey. Go on. Yes, go, Howie. Like rickrack or flowers or something down the center of the front, because I really like how this one looks. And this one should have probably been made as a reversible or at least lined. The fabric's a little thin. Hoping it'll be okay. It doesn't look bad when they're together, but when you look at a single layer, it looks a little thin. So I'm hoping I have enough fun bias tape maybe to do the bottom. If not, I've done these without the bias tape, which I think I have one that I did that's reversible. Yeah, this one here. This one's reversible, and I didn't use the bias tape on the bottom. I just put them together and stitched around. So I really like this pattern too. This one, I didn't write the patterns on it, but this is the one with the big pockets that I divided into 2 pockets. And I do also, I would like to make some more like this one. The only thing with this one is it's got all this piping, and I have to make that piping. And that's why I haven't jumped on board with making it. But these pockets go all the way around the side of the dress. They're huge pockets, which I think a little girl would really like those. This one would be a little bit more difficult to do as a reversible because there's so many different components to it. So this one, if I make another one of these, it will not be reversible. But this one was one of my favorites, just the way it turned out. So that's what I've made this week. Let me say hello to everybody. I think I have said hello. Will you make yourself a reversible one too? I can. The butterfly dress that I shared last week is actually fully lined, and it could be reversible, except that I added a dart, and so now it doesn't look right inside. I am still working on my dress to get the sizing right. Once I get that sizing right on that single layer dress, that one could easily be made reversible, very easily. So if you missed any of the other videos, they're on my channel of the dresses I've made, and I talk about the pattern numbers. So like this week, it was McCall's 2074, right? 2074. This was a thrifted dress, a thrifted pattern, and they had cut out a size 14. So the size 16 for this one was just gone. And what I did is I went through and I traced all of the pieces for all of the sizes. So I kept my original, and then I have all of the pieces so that I can make these dresses. Either these links or the link that I drew a line and I just fold the pattern up so I can reuse that pattern piece. And I use the big hearts on it because it's for the bigger girls. I had pulled a couple other patterns to try to use, but again, I don't have enough fabric, because you need, for a size 12 and up, you need about 2¼ to 2½ yards for these longer dresses. So, and I am trying to use fabric that's in my stash. I don't want to go buy anymore. I need to use what I have that I've bought thrifting and remnants and that kind of thing. So I'm using what I have, clearing my stash out pretty quickly. And I have 11 labels left. So that's one dress that's a single layer and 5 dresses that are reversible, because you got to put the label on the pocket so that it's visible no matter which side. Although Madi said that if you don't have enough labels and you still want to do a reversible dress, don't sweat it that if one side doesn't have the label. But since I have the labels, I'm putting them on all the sides of the dresses. So I've made 14 dresses. Of those, 3 are reversible so far. And I've got the 11 labels. So I'm thinking 5 more reversible dresses plus one that's not reversible. And I'll have all my labels used up, and then I can mail the dresses off to Madi. So that's my plan. Any questions? Oh, Leah, you've asked me a question of where did you get this fabric? Which fabric? Is Leah here? Yeah. I don't know which fabric. The fabrics I have are Hobby Lobby, Joann's, or thrifted fabrics. Maybe some from Fabric Mart Fabrics online. But most of it is from Joann's. I worked there for about 10 years. And then some of the fabric came from Hobby Lobby when they do the yearly markdown, and they have that box bin thing in the middle of the aisle where the fabric's like $3 or $4 a yard. I've gotten some fabrics from there. The pink gingham is a thrifted fabric. I know that. And then the birds came from Joann's. So I don't know if that's the fabric you're talking about. I'll have to see which picture or whatever you're on. The one with the girls on it. This one here. The girl fabric is the fabric that I got at the bins, and it was an entire bolt of fabric, and I got it for like less than $2 for the entire bolt. I will say the girl fabric is a Debbie Mum fabric from probably the 1980s. It's pretty thin, so it works great for a double-sided dress. Because then you can put something nice, like I use the solid, well, it's not really solid, it's, tone on tone, that I got this at Joann's. And I think the daisies was a remnant from Joann's on the other side of this one. But this one was like less than, I didn't spend a lot that day. And part of this bolt was damaged. So what I did is I got Scott to come over by me, and he just cut a little on the side, and we just ripped the damaged fabric off and left it at the bins. And then I did wash this before I used it. So that's where the dolly fabric came from. And if you want to look for it like on Etsy or something, it's a Debbie Mum fabric. And I guess you would call it dolls, or maybe it's supposed to be paper dolls. I don't know. But it's Debbie Mum, and it's a double border. So you've got the girls on one edge of it, and then there's flowers on the other. So if I wanted to use it for a big girl, I probably wouldn't put the dolls on it. I would use the other side, and so that it has flowers along the bottom. So if you flip that one, then on this side, it has the big green pocket across the front, because I thought it went pretty with the daisies leaves. So that's how that one works. Good morning, Peg. So again, all of these fabrics came from Joann's. So that is what I've got so far. I wish I had some more of the celestial fabric, the purple that everybody loves, but I don't have any more of that, or at least not enough to do a dress. I have enough to cut some squares out for my quilt project, which the bags for the I've got pieces from the dresses that are big enough to cut 3-inch squares out of, and then I've got my tiny scrappy bits, which next month we're going to do something with tiny scrappy bits, and that's the plan for next month. So this week, this dress here was the only one I made. It's reversible, and I don't want to repeat myself again, but it was fun to make. The reversible dresses are not that hard, really. So I guess I'm going to let you guys go, and I'm going to go and start some breakfast. If there are no other questions, and I'll see if I can figure out, I'll get with Leah on wherever she's left that message. All right. Take care, you guys, and I hope you all have a great week. Don't really have any life updates to update. Well, maybe I do. Greg had a job interview with a place he's previously worked, and he was there for over like 2 hours. So hopefully he'll get back on with them. There was a misunderstanding the last time he worked there, and that issue has been resolved. So I think he'll get to go back there hopefully soon. And that's it. Nothing else really exciting in life right now. Yeah, I do too, because he really hates where he's working now. He really hates it. But I told him, I said, if you get back on with them, I said, you need to go in with more positive attitude and make it work, because I don't want to hear it. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.